Gold or Yoda?
Złoto?
Lube Yoda.
Aurum?
Non Yoda.
Kinmatawa.
Jeez. Yoda.
That's our question for today. But the real question is...
Plata o plomo.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. I've been getting a lot of comments about this regarding the Guild Events Store. Now, if you don't know, the Guild Events Store is a whole brand new shipment that was paired along with territory battles. And it has a lot of highly valuable things, probably too many, where we're having a hard time deciding what we should do. So I'm going to help spread my ever-expanding wisdom on this game and give you some advice on what I think you should do based on depending on what stage of the game you're in. And I'll tell you what I've been doing, because some people just like to follow what I've been doing, but I'm in a different position. So let's get into it, talk about the Guild Event Store and what it's all about. So let's just clear the air in case you do not know where Guild Events shipment. You can just access any shipment in the game. So right now we're just gonna tap on the Guild Store, and the Guild Events shipment, at least to my knowledge, doesn't have its own set spot that you can tap on like all the other shipments. So you gotta tap on some shipment, scroll along at the top, and tap on this icon, and bada bing, bada boom. There you go. Here is the Guild Event shipment, and it has a lot of pretty good stuff in here that has been giving people some choices to work with. Well, before we start talking about the shipments, we gotta talk about, well, how do you get currency to play around in this shop? And it's all strictly tied to Hoth Imperial Invasion as of now, and I assume if they make more territory battles down the line, that's where you'll get extra currency for the Guild Event shipment. And they reworked the rewards recently, so we don't know what the prize boxes are going to disperse just yet, but they did increase the Guild Events currency. Just getting you 1 star gets you 2,500 currency, and if you keep going higher and higher, I recommend on average most of you guys will probably get around 22 stars, so you're getting roughly 3,700 to 3,900 currency. So that is definitely a lot to work with. And if you're one of the big macho guys, you're gonna get 7,900. But wait, that is not it. If you also participate in some of the new nodes they placed on the map, there's a couple special missions. In phase 1, they added a Phoenix mission. In phase 2, they added a Rogue One mission. The one that's really difficult is the one that requires a 7-star Captain Han Solo, 7-star Rolo, and those have some pretty big rewards, but I suspect most people won't be touching that node and getting some big bang for a little bit of time. You got this currency. Let's just assume you get about maybe 3,900 per week. Also keep that in mind, you only get 1 disbursement per week, so you have to make sure it lasts you a while, or you just spend it effectively. So first, I'm going to start off with my opinion on the ship blueprint. There is one ship that is very hard to come across, and I believe Cassian's U-Wing is in here. So that is one ship. If you're a ship fanatic, you need to have all the ships. He's in here. That's really the only ship I would recommend getting. Ships are at that point where you don't need to drop everything and, worry about having 7-star ships right now. I don't suspect they'll be super important anytime soon, but even if they were, go to Galactic War. Most of my 7-star ships came from Galactic War. For example, Plo Koon and Wedge's X-Wing, you can get from the Galactic War ship. It's a much easier currency to come by, and most likely, most of you guys have a lot of the stuff out of Galactic War, the shipment that is, already farmed. So I recommend not getting blueprints unless you really want Cassian's U-Wing. The Ghost and Phantom, they're also in here. Very valuable ships, as well as Gar Saxon, but you can get those in the fleet shipments. You can get the Ghost from a hard battle, which is what I'm doing. Not a huge rush to get these ships to 7 stars for territory battles exclusively. So my opinion is don't farm ships out of the Guild Event Store. That is my opinion, and that kind of applies in my mind to any person in the game. You don't come across that much currency, not worth getting the ships in here. There are other avenues you can get ships. Don't worry, go to those other avenues. You'll be in much better shape. All right, character shards, kind of the same deal as the ships that I just mentioned, and this applies to no matter what level you are, in my opinion. IMO. For example, Princess Leia. Why would you get Princess Leia shards out of her? You can get her in the arena shipments much easier. You get about 800 currency per day if on average. You can possibly get up to 1,200 currency per day, so you can get probably 15 shards of Princess Leia a day at the very most, sometimes even more, from the arena shipment. So no reason to spend very valuable currency. Guild Events currency is very valuable, but if you don't care about the Rogue One requirements and you only care about arena and other things, Baze is still a great character. However, you may just be okay by going to the hard battles and taking your time. But if it's something that's a top priority for you, you really need that tank, you probably should farm Baze out of here. And that should be the only character you should farm out of here. If you need Chirrut Imwe, just go to fleet shipments, in my opinion. Focus on a couple things and get Chirrut out of there. But as you see, some of these characters like Bastan, there's no need to farm him out of here. This is very valuable currency. You can just get him out of the Cantina store. No need to worry about Bastan, Princess Leia, Sabine, and there's others like Admiral Akbar. Again, you don't need to get those characters out of here. I think that's a huge waste of currency if you farm a character that is easily accessible somewhere else. So pretty much from here on down, from this row where you got these gold pieces all the way down to the bottom, should you farm this gear? And let's talk about my thoughts on that. If you're someone in my position, someone who's very advanced in the game, who's been playing a long time, somewhat well developed, and you're maybe a pay-to-play player, there really shouldn't be a need for you to get stuff out of this shipments going all the way down. You probably will be better off saving your valuable currency for the top end items, but there will be sometimes valuable things in here such as stun cuffs. And recently, with the whole change, the shard shop where they put gear in the shard shop, they took gear out of the fleet shipments, and I'm not the biggest advocate for that. I don't know why they would take the gear out of fleet shipments. I thought it was perfectly fine in there. The prices were pretty good for the stun cuffs. Now this kind of became the replacement for those who focus on the fleet shipments to get some gear really quickly. In my mind, I'm thinking of people whose main focus right now is just getting purple characters and getting them to gear 11 because you can't get to the good stuff for gear 12 yet, so your focus is on gear 11. I would say there's probably not a huge need if you're not planning on getting any gear 12 characters anytime soon. No need to start stocking up on this. Focus on getting your characters to gear 12 and get your things such as the stun cuffs to help you move along, because once you have a decent amount of gear 11 characters, then you start making that jump to gear 12 and start bumping those characters up a little bit more. People who are level 65, there's pretty much no need for this gear 12 stuff. You're ways away from going to gear 12, so your resources aren't better spent on getting this. You're probably a lot better if you're going to get stuff such as the purple gear to make those jumps to gear 9, 10, and 11, or you might be better off if you're someone around level 65 to get Baze or Chirrut Imwe. That's kind of my thoughts. Guild events, as I believe, is accessible around level 65, so there's no reason to be getting all that gear 12 stuff right away. Chirrut and Baze is probably your number one priority at level 65 if you didn't buy them already, and getting some of the purple gear such as stun cuff will help you quite a lot getting through those gear levels. So pretty much just be smart. The situation you're going to be in is a bit different. You don't want to go and buy pieces that you already have maybe a couple hundred of or maybe thousands of. Like, I wouldn't buy this blue piece. I have 129 of them. It's not the most popular piece out there, so just be smart. If you really need some sort of purple piece, just make sure it's not something you already have a lot of. So what I've been doing, if you're someone in my position, I'm taking my time. I'm farming this stuff that you can farm by yourself. It's going to take a while, and then I'm trying to get a stockpile of all that stuff from the guild event shipment for the gear 12 stuff to about 30 pieces. I want to have a little bit of everything, so when I get a character to gear 12, I can be sure I'm ready and I can start putting those gear 12 pieces on. So as you see, I'm trying to make my way to 30 pieces because these have an odd combination rate. You need 30 pieces of these to create the part. Going back to my General Kenobi that I just got the gear 12 the other day, once you have those 30 pieces, just because you have those 30 pieces, you can't just craft the piece right away. You have to wait and get these particular purple pieces, which, as you see, can only be gotten out of Hoth Invasion. So you're gated once more. The gear 12 stuff, those gold pieces, all those fancy binoculars or whatever this is, you can get that out of the guild shipments. You got your 30 pieces. Then you have to start waiting to get 40 of these. As you see, you need 2 pieces. You got to get 40 of these out of territory battles, and then you combine them and start placing these really high level pieces on here. This gear at gear 12 is super valuable. My favorite piece that I'm looking forward to is the one that gives you over 6,000 health for a character, which is a huge bump in terms of durability. So my priority is getting my characters from gear 11 to gear 12 and making sure once they're at gear 12, I have the stuff ready for them to start adding those big pieces to them. So first, get those gear 12 specific pieces, get 30 pieces of each of them, probably more. If you want to be ready, maybe get 60 per character. If that's something, if gear 12 is something really important to you, maybe shoot for 60. And then after you have whatever threshold you hold, I recommend a 30 as a minimum. Then this line right here, You have the Mark 8 parts, you have the Mark 7 thermal detonators, and you have the Mark 4 back to gel. This is the stuff you want to farm afterwards. Now, some people might be doing the opposite. You guys might be farming this Mark 8 security scanner, the Mark 7 thermal detonator, all that stuff first from this shipment. Then you might be someone who's going for that gold gear up in the top right. It's all subjective. I'm doing it the other way because that gear 12 stuff is really a big bump. But if you do it the other way that I mentioned, where you go for this row first, then that you're probably going to get to gear 12 a lot faster. And one more thing, I forgot to mention this. If you're a pay-to-play player, this second row, if you just buy gear, you can buy that stuff from the daily shipments. So if you're buying that stuff from the daily shipments, no need to worry about farming it from here. You can just buy it and call it a day. There's just a lot of decisions, and one way or another, just make sure you're not wasting your currency. And the last thing we're going to talk about is Hermit Yoda. Now, I've made 2 videos on Hermit Yoda. Long story short, there's a card in the top right if you want to check out one of them, but check out both of them if you're very interested in Hermit Yoda. And long story short, he's an amazing support character that can do a lot of things for your team. Check out the video. But the question is, he's very expensive. It takes about 2,700 to get just 10 shards of Hermit Yoda. Assuming you can get 10 shards of Hermit Yoda a week, it's gonna be about 14 weeks before you can even unlock this character. Even probably a little bit, yeah, probably about 14 weeks before you can unlock this character. So it's gonna be a very long time. Can you put gearing off for 3 months? I don't know. That's something I'm not up to right now. Even if you're someone who's getting 5,000 currency a week, you might be able to get 20 shards of Yoda every single week, and that will speed up the process for Hermit Yoda. So for people who are in my situation, gearing is your #1 priority. You don't need another character slapped on top of your table to gear up all the way. We have so many other great characters that need attention at the moment. But I will make 2 exceptions, even though I'm not farming Hermit Yoda anytime soon. Exception #1 is you have a very strong Jedi squad. If you have like gear 12 Jedi or even gear 11 Jedi, Hermit Yoda might be on your priority list because he really takes the Jedi to a whole other level, and they could probably get better in the future. They might do a Jedi rework of some sort, and if you have Hermit Yoda ready, that's all the better. Second exception is if you're going for Hermit Yoda, it's probably because you already have a lot of gear. Your gearing situation is not in a tough spot. You buy a lot of your gear. You got a lot of gear 12 characters. So my recommendation on getting this stuff, this gear 12 stuff, and all these gear 11 pieces to jump to gear 12, you probably can ignore that and just go straight for the Hermit Yoda, which is a very great character. And then there's a third reason why you might go to Hermit Yoda, because you don't care about the gearing. You just want Hermit Yoda. And you know what? That's part of the game. Even though we try to be efficient, if you love a character, just go for it. Have fun. That's the point of the game. But that's just what I'm doing. My main focus, and probably for a lot of you guys who are in the level 85 situation, is you want to try to get the gear 12, and the gear grind is pretty tough, and you want to try to get to gear 12 and be sure you're ready to slap on those gear 12 pieces, because they'll take your character from a beast to a monster. So hopefully this video was helpful. I know it was quite simple. I just want to share my thoughts on the guild event store because it's a very valuable shipment now, and now that fleet shipment's got all the gear taken out of it and it's only the shard shop or here in terms of buying it with a good exchange rate, people have been asking, so hopefully my thoughts have helped you make an informed decision on this type of farming. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully this video was helpful for you guys, and let me know down below or in Discord, Twitter, you know the drill, on what you're doing. I want to know what you guys are doing. We can kind of talk about your questions or your farming decisions. Let's talk about it. Let me know down below. So if you did enjoy this video, please feel free to leave me a like and also subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, you're missing a lot of stuff, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. And as always, come on, I'll be back.